Alright, in this video we're going to be working on trying to finish this swap up, or at least get closer. To get it to fit under the car, I had to take the skip shift solenoid off because it was hitting the floor there, you can see. So what I did is I took the skip shift solenoid and I cut the part that goes into the transmission off, and then I welded the back side of it up and ground it down. So I'm going to put this back in there so I don't have any tranny leaks. Test fitting this drive shaft. It's way too short, so I'm going to have another one made. Hopefully it'll be long enough. And then we'll get on to raising the transmission up. I have a new mount. This one here is pretty soft, so I got a polyurethane mount to put on it. And I might have to shim the transmission up just a little bit. But when I built the cross member, I wanted it just a little bit low because it's easier to shim it up than it is to lower the cross member. So I'm gonna get that plug put in and then shim up the transmission with the new. Alright, got the car back on the ground. Transmission has been shimmed up. Now I'm gonna work on wiring. You can kind of see down there the hole I cut. Now I'll try to start feeding the wiring harness through. It's kind of tricky because you have to shove all the plugs through, and the hole's really not that big, so we start getting the wiring through that hole. Okay, got all the wiring ran through my hole there. The grommets in. I've got this much room to work with to try to mount the computer, which there's not a lot of room under the dash, so I'll probably hang it in here off the bottom of the air conditioner box. The original computer sat right here, but it was way smaller. That's where these cords went to. So got that done, which I was really not looking forward to, but it went all right. Now I just got to get all these wires ran. Most of them were all pre-terminated, but I've got some, like this was my fuel pump, and then these would all go to gauges, which I don't have a need for because all my gauges are still analog. So cap those off for now, figure out where the computer is going to go so we can plug it in with the big plugs. The fuse box will get mounted somewhere, as well as the ALDL connector. Alright, excuse the noise. Got the radiator running. The gas tank is out of the car. Not sure if I showed that or not. So nothing here. Got the old gas tank on the floor over here, and I was gonna see if I could reuse it, but it's real nasty inside, and I don't know that you could, even if you clean that out, it's still rusty up top. So I've got another gas tank over here, brand new. And to get the fuel injection to work, I got the sending unit out of a, I believe, 86 El Camino with the 4.3. So this has the spot to mount the fuel pump, and then I got a new fuel pump here. So we're gonna get this put together and get it put in the car, since we're still waiting on parts to make the clutch and everything work. So we'll at least get the fuel system buttoned up. Okay, got the fuel pump put on the hanger. Got the sock on, got it zip tied in there. So now what we're gonna do, shove it in the hole, lock it in and bolt it into the car, and then the fuel pump will be installed. Alright, out here working on the El Camino. It's been a couple days. Taking a break from the fuel system while waiting on some fittings. Right now I've got the master cylinder off here, the brake booster sitting, because I've got a bracket over here on the bench from 6speedmoney.com. Well, actually it's not on the bench. Anyways, here's the pedal. That's the clutch pedal. Uses an F-body clutch master cylinder. And the bracket is right here. So this goes right there and sandwiches between the brake booster and the firewall, and then there's a mount for your slave cylinder or your clutch master cylinder. So right now I'm going to work on getting the pedals out of the car so we can get the clutch pedal mounted, and then we'll get this piece mounted so we can drill some holes for the push rod. Alright, got the pedals out, had to pull the steering column out to get it. So as far as I know, the way this works is you take this bolt out. It came with a new bolt, grade 8, that will go through this pedal, and then this one will this one will set on the side like that, and then all you got to do on the bottom is cut this pedal pad to be the same size as this one, and then get 2 new rubber pedal pads for them, and then be able to stick this back in the car. Alright, got my fittings for my fuel pump, or my fuel system. This is my feed line. Clean the end of it up, and all I'm doing is I've got a filter off of, I believe it's a 95 Chevy pickup, so it's good for the fuel injection. And this is a brake line that you get from O'Reilly's or AutoZone or whatever, and it fits in there nice. So I've got a compression fitting on both ends, and that's going to go there. And then I'm going to have a piece of aluminum line, because that's what I've got, that'll run from this side all the way up the frame, up the firewall, and to the fuel rail. Alright, here's the fuel pump. Not quite installed, I just got to get a mount for it, but I'm going to leave it loose until I get the fuel pressure built up to see if it's going to leak out of any of these fittings. Got my aluminum line running all the way up, and it's just sitting up there. We're going to get the headers installed before we run the routing, so we know we're not going to get too hot. Speaking of the headers, got one hanging up over here, drying off next to the furnace, because I just painted it. The other one's already been painted and it's dry, so start with that one on the passenger side, and then this one will be dry, so we can do get the headers installed and we'll be one step closer. Got the headers on. This one here is pretty tight up against the frame, but it doesn't seem to be touching anywhere. This one here has lots of clearance except for by the slave cylinder, so I'll probably put a little bit of heat wrap on this and maybe some reflective tape, since this is plastic and I don't want to melt it. But other than that, they fit pretty good. They line up with my cutouts in the cross member. So now we'll get on to some exhaust work maybe. For mufflers, I went with the similar muffler to what's on the twin turbo Impala. I couldn't find the exact same ones, but these are a straight through perforated core muffler, so they should sound pretty good. They sound real good on the Impala, which is all covered up over there. But we'll get those put on. I'm just going to do turn downs because I'm not going to worry about tailpipes on this car. Okay, headers are on. Got the driver's side exhaust pipe pretty much done, other than welding the hanger on. We had to do some modifying to the collectors because I couldn't get any 3-inch collectors. So I got some that were necked down to 2.5, and I cut them off right at the front, so I got a full 3-inch all the way back. Muffler's sitting up here for now. Got a turn down made up. It's got a little bend in it because our bender is old and doesn't do as good as the new ones, but it works. So this is going to go right in here somewhere, weld onto the pipe, bolt to the frame, and then this side will be done. And then we'll do the same thing on the passenger side. It'll be pretty much the same, except we'll have to curve the pipe out just a little bit. As you can see, it'll go over and then through here and then back up next to the drive shaft. Try to match this one as best as possible because this is the lower one, because the floor just isn't as high up over here. So the exhaust is almost done. All I've got left is to drill a hole and weld in the O2 bung right in here somewhere, and we'll be that much closer to firing this thing up. Okay, I haven't recorded anything in the last couple hours. Just been trying to get some stuff done on this car this weekend. I got the radiator in for now. I've just cut the fan shroud off right there, so it still holds the radiator in at the top. Headers are on, spark plugs, wires are on, wiring harness is mostly wired on. Just have to do the O2 sensors once I get bungs installed. I changed the water pump to a B-body style water pump because they only have 2 outlets on them, and they both will be easier to run. The F-body had 3 outlets, and I don't have a place for the third one to go, so those will work better. Also, this hose on the F-body, because of the pulleys being further in, was in here like this, and it was pointing right at the power steering pump. So those are done. I just have to get hoses tomorrow, and we'll start working on wiring, because all that's left is wiring the power steering return and the other exhaust pipe and radiator hoses. But getting awfully close. Alright, I got a lower radiator hose on the car. This is off of a 95 Corvette lower hose with an Lt1. It seems to work pretty good. I cut about 1 inch off this side because it was just a little bit too long. The other hose is the stock upper hose that was on this El Camino, and it seems to be okay. I had to trim the end off of it also, and then this end is factory over here. So all the plumbing is just about done except for the heater hoses, and then we'll be working on getting the other exhaust pipe put on it and wiring. We'll be pretty close to firing it up finally. Alright, both pipes are in all the way back with turn downs. Got the hangers welded in, and the O2 bungs are also welded in. So the exhaust is pretty much done. Now we got to get to wiring because all the plumbing is done. Alright, got it running. I don't have the serpentine belt on it right now because I didn't ever get a return line on the power steering line pump. So it sounds pretty good. It's not too loud, but it sounds good when you're getting on it. So we're gonna let it warm up a little bit until the headers start getting hot, and we'll shut them off, try to burn the paint in. Alright, here's a little thing I've done. I didn't record any of it, but this is my shifter. I ended up having to modify the bottom of the shifter. As you can see, I cut it off and folded it forward and welded it to clear the seat, because before, if this was straight up, it was hitting the seat and it wouldn't let it go into 2nd, 4th, or 6th. So I cut it and welded it. This is only temporary. I have another shifter coming that should fix this problem. So I welded I took a piece of 3/8 and I bent an old extension that was broken from Harbor Freight. It's a little too long. I'm not really fond of where it's at, but like I said, it's temporary. And then I've got another broken extension hooked in here with the original knob off the Chevette that I made out of a 2x4. So there's my shifter. It's a very long throw, especially with how long it is. And also when I welded it, I seem to have ruined the detent between 5th and reverse. So now you've got 5th and reverse, and there's not hardly any spring pressure. So if you was in a hurry, you could accidentally go there instead of there. So we'll take it easy for now. The new shifter should be here in a week or so, and we'll see if it works any better. But this one looks kind of cool, just too long and not very good. Alright, this video here, we're going to end it here. I was going to do a test drive. I've got the hood back on. As you can see, obviously it clears just fine. I don't have a fan mounted yet, but it's cold enough outside, I'm not super worried about it. I got the computer mounted and I'm pretty happy with it. I put it right back where the original one went. Now this is kind of bulged out, but I put a brace around the Lt1 computer and bolted it to the side of the car, and I cut all the inner webbing out of these 2 pieces of plastic so it sits in there. I'll probably paint these screw heads so you don't really notice it, and then I just have to mount my OBD1 port. So once I get the rest of the wires tucked up in the carpet vacuumed, you'll never know. Shifter, we're going to change that because I don't really like it. But as you can see, from outside. It's not very good weather for test driving. It's all muddy in the yard. I don't want to get it out. So the next video, we'll have this thing buttoned up a little bit more and be test driving it, hopefully. But if it still works, it should still be able to fire up. Alright, I finally found the problem. This spark plug wasn't firing. It's either fouled out or I cracked it when I was putting it in, because this one here, number 5, is really hard to get to, and I have to get to it from the bottom. So I might have cracked it, so I threw another plug in there. And now, sounds much better. So in the next video, we'll be maybe driving this thing. Too muddy out right now to get it out. So thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment below.